The Army Painter have announced a metallic color line for their upcoming Warpaints Fanatics, and I cannot wait to learn all about these. Plus, we finally learned the official release date of Space Marine 2, and it's probably not the date you were looking for. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. My name's Angela, and welcome to Hobby Night. The Video Game Awards were this past week, and at it, we finally got a trailer revealing the official release date of when Space Marine 2 is going to be coming out. Let's go ahead and watch it.
What is your life?
My honor is my life.
Oh my god, it really is, Titus, we all know.
What is your craft?
God, you look so cool!
Is death.
To the Xenostone!
What is your pledge?
My pledge is eternal service.
To the Emperor of Mankind, of course. That is right, we are officially getting Space Marine 2 September 9th, 2024. Now, I know that this is probably a little bit of a longer wait than a lot of you were hoping to see this date be announced. We were all hoping for it to be early 2024, weren't we? I know I was, but I actually had a very sinking feeling that it was going to be later into the year, and that does in fact seem to be the case. But I do hope that means that the devs have plenty of time to get everything polished up, looking super cool. The co-op works really well. Like, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping this delay means, is that we're just going to get a super polished Space Marine 2 co-op game where we can run around with our battle brothers and absolutely murder some Tyranids and probably some corn demons. I feel like we're going to get some demons thrown in here, and I feel like we're due for maybe some corn. So that's my theory on it. I can definitely tell you that Chaos Cultist and I will be playing this game starting September 9th, 2024, when it officially gets released. Now let's just pray to the Omnissiah, to the Emperor, to the Chaos Gods, whoever you feel necessary to pray to, that it doesn't get delayed further. This past weekend, Games Workshop revealed a brand new orc miniature, part of their Black Library collection, and I want to watch the trailer with you because this boy looks super cool. I love the hammer, love the details they put on the cloak. But my favorite part is the squig. The squig who is propping up his gun to make him steady. It's so cute. Oh, just look at him. And we are, in fact, going to go to Warhammer Community now to take a closer look at our beautiful orky boy, because I actually think this model is really cool. Now, I like the recent orc redesign that they've had, especially when it comes to the Beast Nagas, and I don't know if this guy is specifically a Beast Naga, although, well, no, actually, he clearly must not be because he's got the moon crescent on there, but he very much has that vibe, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I feel like I don't normally see orcs with cloaks like this. Like, they definitely have loincloths, they definitely have armor on them, but I feel like I don't see that many of them with actual capes. Like, big fur things around their necks and such, yes, but capes that flow and billow? Maybe I'm just not looking at the right orc models, but I don't feel like I see that very often, and I love the way that this guy looks from both the front and the back. Like, he just looks so freaking cool, and this squig is adorable. Look at his golden jaw, look at his big purple tongue, and look how good of a boy he's being, helping steady that gun so that his orc friend can just get the clearest, most precise of shot. Now, I have not read any of the books with this particular orc character in it, which you can see here, the big Daka, but like, he looks amazing. And can I just say, I love the fancy edition of this book. It is hyper neon green, and I love it. Like, even the ribbon is green. It's just so good. It's so bright and honestly makes my eyes bleed, and that's just exactly how I feel like some orcs should be. So overall, I'm very happy with this reveal and might be picking this one up just because I think he'd be super fun to paint. Hey guys, just jumping into the video to remind you to hit that subscribe button and bell icon for notifications so you never miss future content on the channel. And if you're into the spicier side of the hobby, you can find a link to my Only Fanatics down in the link tree below in the description. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the video. Speaking of miniatures that I think look fun to paint, we have Skitter Stab, the Master Assassin. He is your newest Skaven star player, and I think this model looks absolutely delightful. I love the cape. I love how ridiculously thick his tail is and that he's got it a little bit blinged out. A very lovely touch. Honestly, I feel like a lot of Skaven characters end up getting these slightly wispier tails, so seeing this big chunky boy, I really like. The only thing that I would say is a criticism of this model is he should have had a third knife being held in his tail. He's got one in each hand, which I do question how he's able to play Blood Bowl and, you know, hold the ball or catch the ball or do anything with the ball when he's just holding knives in his hand. But having one in his tail, I think would be so cool. I've seen that done in other Skaven models, and I think it'd be super appropriate here, and also might allow him to free up his hands, you know, for the game. But regardless, I cannot wait to get my hands on some of the more recent Blood Bowl miniatures. What's that? Some of the more recent Blood Bowl miniatures that we've seen coming from Games Workshop. Last week we looked at the cheerleaders, we keep looking at some really cool star players, and they're a little bit easier to order now with Games Workshop's new website, even if it is a little bit fiddly. We're moving away from war games and instead going into the world of board games because Cool Mini or Not is back and they have another game set in the Cthulhu Death May Die universe, but it's not explicitly a new expansion for Cthulhu Death May Die. Let's go ahead and watch the trailer and discuss Cthulhu Dark Providence. Not really a good time in the US. Especially not when, you know, apparently elder gods are on the way. Do you dare fight Cthulhu and all of his dark, unworldly gods? I do. And honestly, this game looks pretty cool. We've got Cthulhu Dark Providence, as I mentioned, and this is actually looking like it's going to be a retake on the Study in Emerald game by Martin Wallace, which we'll look at that game a little bit after this video is over, and it does look very familiar. But I do think Cool Mini or Not has given it a nice graphical update. Like, this is a lot sharper, definitely feels more in line with what you're used to seeing from, you know, Cool Mini or Not and a lot of their Eldritch Horror games, and I think the vibe fits perfectly. I am going to be very curious to see how this one sells, as it's going straight to pre-order. I don't really think they're doing much of a Kickstarter campaign or anything for it. But again, it is a remake of an already existing game that has actually had 2 different editions and done very, very well. So I am kind of surprised to see this coming out now, but if you're into like bluffing games with a little bit of deck building mechanics, then this is probably one you might be interested in because it's going to have a lot of that. You could end up being a cultist, you could end up being on the side of good trying to save the world from Cthulhu, and of course, because it's a Cool Mini or Not game, you do of course still get some miniatures to maneuver around the board and, you know, paint up and have some fun with. Now, I do want to take a look at the original game, which you can see here. This is a City in Emerald, I think the 2nd edition version, and I will admit I do like the graphic updates that we're seeing from this other game from Cool Mini or Not. I just think it's a little bit easier to read. Although I will say I kind of miss the like intense green color tones. I do love a good intense green, and we aren't getting that anymore with the new game, whereas we got it a lot with the old game. I'm gonna, like I said, be curious to see how this one sells. Let me know if it's one that you would be interested in. And overall, I continue to be pretty pleased what I see coming out from Cool Mini or Not, and I'll always keep my eye on their new content. Last but not least this week, I want to take a look at the new announcement that the Army Painter has about some metallic colors for their Warpaints Fanatics line. Let's watch the video.
You know who hates painting metallics?
Me?
This guy. You know who doesn't hate painting metallics anymore? This guy.
That makes me excited. I would love to, you know, actually like using metallics a bit more. I've played with them a little bit, but not a huge fan. It's why I tend to use contrast paints to create a non-metallic metal look. But if Army Painter has a brand new metallic paint, that's gonna be nice. I'm excited.
The metallics is a story in itself.
It is.
Right. And it follows some of the same trends of the acrylics, really. That the fact that we actually had a great metallic range, but how do you make something that's really good, the best you can make? Again, it's technology. That it always comes down to that.
I would say it's an okay
It's hard to
metallic
believe that you can
range.
make
I
our
actually don't know if I would say it was a
metallics
great
even
metallic
better,
range.
but I think we did. And that's because we've made a switch from using mica flake, which can be difficult to use for many painters, to a very high quality aluminum flake. We're calling it acrylic formulation.
They are combining a lot of cool tech.
What a hard word to say.
I'm not a scientist. I need this one. Warpaint metallics have been a stalwart for hobbyists of all kinds all over the globe, and they just got better. They already said that. The new Fanatic metallics utilize the new army painter's proprietary acrylic flake. This advanced aluminium flake covers better and shimmers brighter than traditional
I'm really
mica flakes,
excited about
and
this
it
new flake that they're
applies
talking
smoother
about.
with less texture.
And
I want to
this new
see
acrylic,
examples. Show it to me.
formulation allows for better coverage of the paints, a smoother coverage.
Look how
of the paints,
shiny
less
those
texture,
are.
Less bumpiness.
This is especially noticeable when painting traditionally difficult to cover paints like gold. It's basically, to say it as it is, we've changed the flakes out, making it a lot better, a lot smoother, a lot
It does
better
look
covering.
smoother.
We're
Like,
upping
it
the wisdom
didn't look quite as globby as sometimes, like, especially golds can look. So I am intrigued.
If I had to pick one favorite color from the new metallics, I think it would have to be mithril silver. I think it's one of the colors that was very much lacking in the original range.
Oh my God, look at the
Definitely needed
difference.
something that really fulfilled that bright,
That is
almost
genuinely
white
impressive.
silver. And the reason why I like it is it's great for mixing to lighten any of the other metallics, but it's also really good for highlighting metallics and using it as that final edge highlight on gold, brass, or even coppers, and definitely.
I mean, he's not
those
wrong.
grayer tone metallics. So it's definitely going to be one you'll.
Gosh, they do
include
look
in
good
your
if those
hobby
are
arsenal.
purely done with the new metallics. They do look genuinely very smooth. I so want to get my hands on these.
My favorite one is cobalt metal, and that's because I was told to say so.
Oh, okay.
My favorite is the new cobalt metal. I love the bluish tint to the metal color, and it will allow you to get this.
Ooh, I do
noble
like that.
steel feel to it, especially
Gray
with
Knights,
the
guys. Imagine
combination
this
of
on
the new
Gray Knights.
washes that we are releasing. So this is definitely my new favorite one.
Okay.
And the inspiration for making these better came from the experience from making the speed paint metallics.
That's true. They do have that new line of speed
Some
paint
of
metallics
the
too.
groundwork is kind of the same.
Right.
The even smoothness and just transferring it to a normal acrylic paint.
You couldn't use a standard resin base for that.
No.
If you did that, it would just all be sort of a washy-washy. It wouldn't look good. You wouldn't have the same coverage.
Separated,
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And again, with the stabilizer, binding everything.
Better flowing base
I mean,
can carry the
I will
metal
admit,
pigments now
they are
it's
convincing me
smaller.
that they've
So
created
you
this
don't
like
have that
amazing
big,
new paint.
gooey, medium, holding the metal pigments now.
And obscuring
Because it's
details as well.
Yeah.
I found that sometimes.
Yeah.
The metallics have really, really, really gone up. Again, coverage, smoothness, blendability, exactly the same story as with all the acrylics, right? And I find that highly satisfactory.
I mean, I also am going to
favorite-
find that highly satisfactory true.
Metallic, I'm going old school. It's still greedy gold because greedy gold just got so much better. But it's still the same greedy gold.
it really does
it's
look
still
good, and it
under
looks
matched
so
to the color
smooth.
prime of the same name. But the
Oh, that's
paint
good to
just
know. So they are
flows
still
good,
going to be
and
color
I'm a
matched.
bit of a gold digger, so there you have it, gold. I'm a golden boy. Stay golden.
All right, well, there you have it. Now, the thing that I actually found the most interesting here is that they have the new aluminum or aluminum flake in there rather than the mica flake. That I find very exciting. And if these look genuinely pretty smooth here as he's just mixing multiple of these colors together. And I have to say, I'm quite impressed. Like, if when I get my hands on the set that I buy of these colors and I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I was hoping for, I'm gonna be blown away because they keep hyping all of these colors up as these incredibly smooth, like I want to go back to the where was the they showed like, oh, there they are. Like, okay, yes, this has bumps on it because it's painted onto a textured base, but normally they're not wrong. When you use metallics, or at least in my experience with using metallics, this would be even more textured because you'd have a slight lumpiness, especially in golds, but really just all metallics that ends up happening unless you just really hyper smooth them down or thin them down. But even then, that sort of adds an inconsistency to the coverage. And so far, from what we are seeing of these colors here, I want to see if I can, yeah, like of these colors here, that is very, very smooth looking. And the shininess of some of these, like I assume this must be the mithril silver and this must be their new copper. I don't know what green gold this is, but it looks stunning. So overall, you can definitely be expecting me to experiment with these and give these a try. I do wonder if they're going to end up doing their like colored sort of fairy dust line, like that iridescent line of colors that they're going to redo with the same formula, because those also suffer from the slight chunkiness problem that metallic paints suffer from. And so I want to see their new formulas applied to basically all of their paints. Like, Army Painter, keep doing what you're doing. And I hope to try these out sometime very, very soon. All right, that has been it for this week in hobby news. Do let me know. Are you majorly disappointed about when Space Marine 2 is coming out? Are you super excited for the brand new Warpaints Fanatics line of paints from the Army Painter? Because I am. I can't wait to get my hands on them. I really want to give them a try. They just look so smooth, and I want to see if they're actually that creamy smooth. Now, in the meantime, before I head out, I do want to give a final thank you not only to my patrons for helping support us, but also my YouTube members. Without your guys' support, we just would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. And if you'd like to join them, you can find links to that in the video description below. In the meantime, I have been Angela, and I will see you all next time. I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.